Hello and welcome to another round of the Master Race Car FBM Saturday Championship in Live for Speed. Tonight it's round 42 at Fern Bay Black, an absolute classic in Live for Speed. I'm Peter Butcher, you're watching Sim Broadcasts, and joining me as ever for this championship, it's Michael Málek. Michael, how's it going?
I'm doing very well, and I'm very excited about what we are going to see tonight.
Yeah, likewise, let's show everybody else what's happening tonight, because we've got an interesting thing coming your way. It's going to be 20 minutes of qualifying, followed by two 10-lap races. The races, the drivers must make a mandatory pit stop. No work required, of course, but it does add an extra bit of spice to the racing action. And then race 2 has that famous top 15 reversed grid, which always adds to the drama, especially around a track like this, Michael, which is tricky.
Yeah, this racing circuit screams drama, as it has a lot of difficult corners and full send chicanes that always catch somebody out, and it's a lot of flips and flops, and I think we will see a lot of crashes and incidents tonight.
Yeah, it comes with the territory, unfortunately. The 31-turn, 6.6 kilometre, 4.1 mile Fern Bay Black configuration is the stadium for this evening's action, with, of course, the FBM 1.2 litre inline 4 rear-wheel drive, half-ton, and 140 brake horsepower. Everybody loves this car, and it always provides some spectacular racing action. There are some test races going on in the background, which means we just about have time to bring you up to speed with the championship standings. But just before we do, let's let you know that we have one round to go of broadcasted coverage of this championship before the end of the year, and that is the finale on Saturday the 20th of December. We are going to quickly have a look down the championship standings and see how everything's shaping up. There's a lot of results here, as would be expected, but yeah, it's Happy D leading the way in the championship ahead of Rex, the Fox, TJ, Gabba, Onifus, Roger Chen, Sufal, Wow, Dark, your top 10. And I'll let these results slide through, Michael, and we can talk about what's going on in the world of FBM Saturday.
Absolutely, as you can see, there's plenty of guys who have attended at least one round of the FBM Saturday. This is one of the very well attended events, as we will see tonight, with more than 30 people currently connected to the racing server.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive attendance as usual, so not surprising that we have over 100 drivers who have scored at least a point so far this year, with lots of opportunities for drivers to score again tonight. So we will have to wait and see what everything looks like at the end. But at the front of the championship standings, Happy D is in close battles with Fragmaster's Rex. It is really, really tight. Both of them are here this evening, I think. In fact, I can see that Rex has set a time in this race, and Happy D is, as far as I can tell, Michael, not here.
Actually, he is here, but during the qualifying, he is doing the race control stuff, essentially, as he's sending people out of the pit lane, so he should be here tonight with us racing.
Yeah, I can't see him on the server, so maybe that's just my eyesight. But anyway, hopefully he's here, and we can get him into the mix. Oh, he's hiding. He is on the server. Michael was right. That is good. But yeah, in the teams championship standings, MRc are blasting ahead with almost 4,000 points ahead of Fragmasters, the next nearest. A scream there from Michael Málek, of course. No bias at all. In the commentary box tonight, Road Appraiser, Third, Sidus, Good Drivers, TAB, Sonoris, Race Green, Winners, and SGR. Your top 10 with 25 teams overall competing in the championship so far this year. Michael, we are due a qualifying session. I think that is about to get underway now, so we'll just wait for that to happen and get over to the action on track. It's going to be good. Two 10-lap races coming up after this short qualifying session, where the grid will be set for race number 1. We'll bring you those pictures just as soon as we can. But yeah, Michael, this is going to be an interesting quali session for sure. There's a lot of fast drivers here tonight.
Absolutely, and with this track, with these full send tight seconds, I think we can see a lot of difficult moments and a lot of fast drivers starting at the back of the grid because of some mistakes.
Yeah, it's one-shot qualifying, so that always adds to the drama. The final test race has just concluded. Sufor won that, but let's get to the track, Michael, where we will get some outlap action, and we'll see who's first out on the track for this 20-minute, roughly, one-shot qualifying session. It's Josep who's out first. We're going to see a full outlap from Josep. So that will be fun.
Absolutely, we can check out the track as he's already in turn 1. It's a very short run to turn 1. I say. Oh. That's a very unconventional mistake, I would say.
Yeah, that's... Well, hopefully that's not going to happen again. Josep leaving skid marks out of turn 1 on his first lap. The first lap that we've seen tonight, with other drivers joining the track behind. We've got Macho B on the track and Onifus, but let's stick with Josep, who hopefully has a less dramatic remaining part of his outlap. Let's see how he gets on. A few interesting characteristics of Fern Bay in general. Lots of long straights, but also chicanes, tight twisty stuff, some elevation change towards the end of the lap. But the straights really are going to lend to some very, very, very nice slipstreaming opportunities, Michael, especially down to this chicane here.
Absolutely, and this is the chicane where you really don't want to go side by side, so we will see very interesting moments for sure, and definitely some cars will be flying in the air.
Yeah, we're not using the Villa section tonight, just a straight cut through up to this Mickey Mouse chicane. Left, right, and then left, and then as we head down towards the third sector of the lap, we've got this very, very tempting right-hander where we might see some side-by-side action with the braver drivers. There's some 11s already on the track ahead of Josep there from the previous race session. As we head down now to the final sector of the lap, and this is a tricky single file section. You can't really be side by side here in the FBM. It's not really going to get you very far. But as we open up into the final few corners here, we might see some action.
Absolutely, this double left-hander is a very nice place to go side by side and into the heavy braking zone after this underpass. This is the place where the track crosses itself, just like in Suzuka.
Yeah, all eyes and all pressure now on Fragmaster's Josep. Let's see what he can do as he winds himself up for a lap around Fern Bay Black in Live for Speed. Let's ride on board as he comes down to the final corner and down over the start-finish line.
Yeah, it's 300 meters to turn 1, so a very short straight. He's already to the braking zone, very late braking, going slightly wide, but it's not too terrible. And now we can see the first of the quick chicanes. It goes through very well, and into the sweeping sections where it's just full throttle and hope for the best. Goes right, then left, and then right again. Very nice line to be there. And onto the bridge. And into the very heavy braking zone, all the way down to the first gear, I assume. Yeah, there he goes. Hugs the apex perfectly and onto the back straight, essentially. The secondary pit lane, I would say, for different track configurations, and onto the most fierce chicane at this track. Will he go full throttle? He goes, he doesn't clip the tires, and it should give him some time advantage.
Yeah, it's a nice lap so far. Let's hope that it finishes as well as it started. As we head up over the crest and back down again. This next corner is a tricky one, but it's easily flat out in the FBM, and yeah, Josep using all the available runoff to good effect. Last sector now, coming up. nicely kisses the curb there. You don't want to put too much of the car over the curbs because the rear differential will not forgive you. You'll suffer in terms of time loss for sure if you ride the curbs too much around Fern Bay Black with its huge circa 1960s 70s curbs. As we head off to the final part of the track, a little bit of traffic up ahead from a car on the outlap, but it should not get in the way of Hosep. Master Race car, very, very good at letting cars out with plenty of air. You could hear the rear, the engine note rise as the rear wheels there were going over the curb as we head out onto the home straight. And Hosep will cross start finish to post the first time a 2:27.27. As we have Onifus next up, just coming through the final chicane. Out over the white line, but that's absolutely fine. And let's see what Onifus can post. Can he beat Hosep? Yes, by a second almost. 26.8. But next up, it's Rex, who has just a couple of corners to go, Michael.
Yeah, and so far he's on a very good split, so he might be onto the provisional pole position time, assuming he doesn't make any significant mistake. Let's see how it goes for him.
Yeah, over start finish comes Rex, and it is provisional pole position, not by the hugest of margins. It has to be said, 21 hundredths of a second the margin there. As we switch to Andrea, who's coming up to the final, at the start finish line, P4 only. Next up, it's Cried, Michael, your teammate, the first of your teammates to set a lap, of which you have many in the server this evening.
Yeah, if we can outperform, at least we can outnumber our opponents, and this is where we shine. So let's see how well Cried does for our team. Over the line now, and he goes fastest actually. That's a very nice line from him.
Really good. As we switch our attention to Gabri now. Gabri just winding up for the final couple of turns. Johnny SVK not far behind Gabri in terms of finishing out the lap. But here we go through the final chicane for Gabri. And what is the time going to be? Will it be anywhere near what Cried has managed? 10th faster? No, but he does split the Fragmasters drivers. Gabri with a 26.96.
And here's another Master Race car driver, Johnny SVK, just completing that final chicane. That's not too challenging, and let's see how well he does. He didn't have the most impressive split, so he will be towards the back of the grid as he goes slowest of all who have finished the lap. And here's one of the fastest Master Race car drivers, the Suffer.
Yeah, if Cried's managed to get the provisional pole, then what can Sufor manage? Sufor does tend to have everything in hand in the MRC team at the moment, but he won the test race just before, but that's not going to have helped him there, Michael. Ran onto the grass, he's compromised his apex for the third to last corner. How many more mistakes did he make on the lap? Let's find out as he comes through the final chicane now.
The split times did seem solid, but let's see how well he goes over the finish line. And it's second place. He really lost the time there.
Yeah, so some time lost there, and it's now the Fox's turn to see whether he can make it a top 3 for the Master Race Car team. Rex currently sits on the second row, and we've only had 8 drivers cross start finish, so this is a little bit of a surprise as the Fox gears himself up for the final few turns.
And the Fox is on a very good run, so I assume he can get pole position time for now. Let's see in a few seconds.
Yeah, coming up to start finish, and it's provisional
there
pole.
He goes.
Wow, 0.3 quicker than Cried. As we switch to Sky F now. Also just coming into the final few corners. Very colourful livery, that one.
Looks interesting.
Yeah, let's see whether it's been a good lap. out onto the home straight.
He's definitely a few seconds behind at this point, so he'll be towards the back of the grid. Possibly the last. Yeah, there he goes.
Next, we have AK Destroyer for Sonoris. First of 5 Sonoris cars that we're going to see this evening. Good turnout for them. And what can they do against the might of Master Race Car? Home turf for MRC, of course, but let's see. Can Sonoris AK Destroyer get up there? No, P10 only at this stage. As we have El Cor. Always nicely turned out, these Sonoris cars, aren't they, Michael?
Absolutely, it's great to see so many people, especially from this rather new team, I believe, in the 4-speed.
Yeah, it's not been around too long, but well, they've got plenty of active members, plenty of quick cars as well. Let's see how El Cor manages over start finish. P10 takes AK Destroyer's place. As we switch over to Hako S.
Hako is also a little bit off pace, so we are not expecting him to take the pole position here. He's a few seconds behind, so he will be around AK Destroyer, maybe even behind him. Definitely behind him. Yeah, he goes 13th out of 13, so that's the provisional last place.
Yeah, and quite close. Hiwatt over start finish. Hiwatt better, P9 provisionally, as we switch to Tamas, the final of the 5 Sonoris cars that are out on the track. But you can see how much time Hako lost. Hiwatt and Tamas were closing in, and yeah, Tamas goes P10. So El Cor, AK Destroyer, and Tamas have all occupied P10 in this session so far. As the next car will be fellow sim broadcast commentator and TC racing driver Adam Brown. Lovely livery that as he comes through the final few corners.
No bias at all.
No, not at all. It's good though. Chris made that one. As we head over start finish, and it is P12. Not happy with himself, is he? As we switch over to Oliver Campbell.
He just entered the final sector of the racetrack under the bridge, and let's see how well he gets through these turns. He's a little bit wider than he would love to, and probably is off pace by a few seconds, so he'll be towards the second half of the grid, maybe towards the very last place of the grid, as he's about 10 seconds off pace, I believe.
Yeah, and TJ's right behind you. Just saw his nose there. We'll flick over to TJ, who just crossed start finish at P2. So not good enough for the pole today for TJ, but not far off at all. Just over 2/10 off pole position, which shows you just quite the lap that the Fox has managed here this evening. A really, really nice lap indeed. As Hachiroku now for Sim Racing Polska heads up to start finish to set a 2:27.58 and P9. As we switch over to Ruby, who's having a very, very bad final sector there, Michael. All out of shape before the camera picked him up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's definitely not in the contention for the front row start. But at least he may have some fun in the midfield as the race number 1 will start. His rear tires are already cooking, so yeah, he's definitely not in the shape to compete.
Yeah, well, double take. Oh, no, a triple take for the apex for that left-hander for Ruby. Probably the most unsettled end to the lap that we've seen. And in fact, yeah, that's not going to be good at all. It's going to be a J-turn. There is nobody coming, so he has got time. But this is going to be firmly last place. Oliver Campbell can breathe a sigh of relief as Ruby comes across the line in P20. As we have Carfryer next up.
Yeah, there he goes. He seems to be a little bit too wide as he's struggling for the grip, so also not the fastest lap, with a lot of corrections through the turn. At least he didn't cash out here, as did the Ruby. And let's see where he ends up. He should be around P15, and he goes 14 fastest. Close enough.
Yeah, good guess there. Hermione next in the blue machine, as we always expect. Nothing if not consistent for Hermione. Let's see if his qualifying position will be good.
I would say Hermione is inconsistent here because he doesn't have weird suspension. As he seemed to have in the past races in RTFR and another RTFR event.
That is true. I had forgotten that, but there we go.
Yeah, let's see how well he does. He seems to be on a decent pace with reasonably hot tires. He goes a bit too wide, but nothing exceptionally wrong. And he may be around P17, 18, I believe.
Well, we're going to find out as we come up to start-finish. Where's Hermione going to go? Will it be a top 20 provisionally? Yes, it will. Just P20. As we switch to Macho B, who was out in the session at the very beginning, possibly erroneously, but anyway, as we close out the lap, Macho B, what's this going to look like? The split time is not competitive, so expect this to be down the order, unfortunately.
Yeah, Macho B seems to be a new player to FBM Saturday at least, as he goes first from the back, so he will have a lot of overtaking ahead of him. As we switch to race green Magic, the first and only, I believe, car, the race green Autosports. So fingers crossed. He's definitely off pace, so he may have made some mistake in his qualifying lap. And goes 18 fastest.
Next, we have a Sidus car. The only Sidus car here this evening is Zesty. But let's see what Zesty can manage. A veteran Formula BMW driver. Used to race for the Master Race Car team. Controversially left to join Sidus, should we say, Michael? And then has...
I don't feel betrayed at all.
But has been doing a good job for this outfit. So let's see how Zesty can manage. Can it be a top 5? The sector time was stunning. Let's see what it is. Over start finish. It's P6 only, so that something went wrong there in the final sector, I think. Was expecting maybe slightly more. So we're going to have a little bit of a wait for this next car to come across the line. It's Grothavin for the TAV team.
Yeah, Mr. Grothavin is around half of the lap now, entering the back straight, flowing into the fast chicane. Let's see if he survives this challenge.
Yeah, for sure. We've got a number of cars left to do laps. Savin, Wow, Yakuza, and Happy D, which should take our grid up to 29 cars at a minimum. Yeah, let's see what this lap ends up being for Grothavin. We'll see another 2 sectors.
Yeah, so far he doesn't seem to do any significant mistake, other than weird lines here and there. But he's definitely off the leading pace, so he might be about to end up in the second half of the grid, but let's see. He's now into the 3rd sector out of 4. It'll oversteer, but he manages to correct without any hesitation. Goes very wide, struggling for the grip. His car is very eager to go oversteer, but he somehow manages to keep it in the right direction, but he's definitely very fast around here. Again, goes understeer, but somehow his rear tires are more hot than the front. And he's definitely gonna be around P20 until the start finish straight. And let's see if my prediction is correct. 21st, come on.
Close enough, Michael. It's Wow for the Good Drivers team next across the start-finish line. There he is. Drivers always doing a nice job, as the name would suggest. And where can Wow put it on the grid? Let's see.
I think Wow is definitely on the pace to put down an impressive lap as he crosses the start finish line now, and he goes 10th fastest. And then there's Yakuza, a very interesting name to be used in this racing series, as he finishes the lap now and goes 24th fastest.
Yeah, but Happy D, championship leader, what can Happy D manage? He's just managed to send all the cars out as race director alongside Fraz, and now gets time to set his own lap.
He's absolutely sending it with fastest splits so far.
Yeah, it's looking good. The Fox 777 has held the provisional pole time for so long, but with a full 1:47.27 final split, that's one of the best I've seen all day. So let's see what Happy D can manage through the final sector. It's clean, but is it good enough? Will the Fox be on pole, or will it be Happy D? Let's find out now. It's Happy D.
He
by
definitely
900ths of a second. He's definitely happy. That was close. 900ths of a second only, and all the pressure there for Happy D, who does the deed. And we get time to check out the qualifying standings then. 2:26.16 is your pole time for the first race. 10 laps around here coming up in a few minutes' time. With the Fox, TJ, Cried, Sufor, Rex, Zesty, Onifus, Gabri, and Hosep, your top 10. Followed by Wow, Hachiroku, Andre, Highwatt, Tamas, Johnny SVK, Carfryer HK, Adam, Elcor, and AK Destroyer. Let's check out the second page of results. In P21, it is Magic, followed by Skyaffair, Ruthavin, Hako S, Yakuza, Hermani, Oliver Campbell, Ruby, and Macho B down there in P29. Looks like quite a few of the drivers didn't make it into 107%, so we'll see whether they will be allowed to start the race by our race director. I have a feeling that we will have all 29 starting, because this is a fairly long lap, Michael, and I don't think we'll see many blue flags.
That is exactly my logic, as the lap is 2.5 minutes long, and even if they are 10 seconds of pace, there is no chance that the leaders will catch them by the end of the lap 10. It will be the finish of race number 1 as well as race number 2. So it's fair to assume that everyone will be allowed to start in the race as long as they are deemed safe, which I believe everyone here is. And we have 230 seconds to go, which is just under 4 minutes before race number 1 starts, with Happy D on pole and the Fox running up the front row. Both Master Race Car drivers, very great drivers actually, from the greatest team of all, followed by TJ and Crichton Safor, all but TJ Master Race Car members. So a very strong qualifying performance from the series organizer.
Yeah, very, very nice time indeed. And let's remind everybody, of course, what is coming up in tonight's action. We have plenty left for you. That was qualifying, which was just the one-shot qualifying. But we've got 2 10-lap races coming up where the drivers must make a mandatory pit stop, and race 2 has a reversed top 15 grid based on the results of the first race. So, yeah, plenty of chaos, plenty of drama coming. We've got about 2.5 minutes to go, Michael. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be back on the other side. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be chaos, which we love. Michael, I think you agree?
Absolutely.
Brilliant. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to FBM Saturday by the Master Race Car team. 45 seconds to go before lights out for race number 1. And we've just had a one-shot qualifying session in which Zesty, Sidus driver, was out-qualified by no less than 4 Master Race Car drivers. Michael is very pleased about that in my ear. However, it does show you that this is tricky territory. Sidus Zesty is very well accomplished, of course, but there are drivers who are just better on the qualifying at the moment. So Happy D takes pole with the Fox alongside in P2, with TJ and Clyde row 2, Sufor and Rex row 3, Zesty and Onifus share row 4, Gabri and Hosep share row 5, and we are moments away, Michael, from the start of the race. So I'll hand the mic over to you as everyone gets going.
Yeah, the grid is set up and we are just a few moments away from the start of the race number 1 tonight. We have Happy D on pole position, the Rex 777 alongside him, it's TJ, Clyde, Safor and Rex. It's 300 meters run to the turn number 1, so pretty short one. Let's see who gets away the best. Lights are green now, and looks like everyone had pretty equal start. It was a very great start from Rex, who benefited from a very short first gear, as his setup doesn't seem to be optimized for the race, and he had contact with Happy D, but luckily everyone managed to survive. So side-by-side action into this first chicane, which is the place where you don't go side-by-side, but it's possible. So far, he doesn't seem to have any heavy collisions. And Rex has dropped to P4 after that very strong start from the standstill. He's trying to attack. Who is that? TJ. Yeah, TJ is going very defensive from the beginning. Happy D keeps the lead with the Fox keeping his back. And here's the view of TJ going defensive from Rex, who goes onto the outside of this heavy braking zone. Another side-by-side action behind them. It's Safor versus Clyde. Safor makes the pass. Meanwhile, here it's Rex and TJ going side by side. The Rex is ahead, and on the inside will be the next turn. Yeah, it's sensible that TJ slows behind as they go full send through this chicane, and looks like they seem to survive.
Yeah, and talking about survival, everybody has made it through thus far. Everybody is now through even that second chicane. This is probably one of the cleanest race starts I think I've ever seen in FBM Saturday, probably in the last year and a half, to be honest. Great start from everybody.
Absolutely, mostly because I'm not attending, but anyway, let's see how
I didn't say
goes.
That. You said that.
But I did, yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of self-confidence, I know. Anyway, Happy D keeps the lead, just about a half a second away from the Fox, followed by Rex and TJ, then Safor, Clyde, Zesty. Zesty is still in P7, so he didn't improve from his starting position. But let's see if he's waiting for the later parts of the race where the tire temperatures come into the play. As we are now watching Car Fryer in P17 being a gaggle of cars, completing the lap number 1 out of 10. Let's remind everyone that we have a mandatory pit stop here, so everyone has to do one quick stop with no mandatory pit work. As TJ is now trying to get back ahead of Rex, but instead he has to watch his own back as he's under pressure from Safor, who is eager to get ahead. Is he in the slipstream? He should be. Does he go for it? He seems to be a bit back, and he will have to go around the outside. So unlikely to make the pass now. But he definitely can set up some overtaking maneuver into the bridge section if he manages to stay close enough.
It looked close, but there wasn't enough road in the end. Yeah, it was interesting that Rex did manage to get a better exit than TJ and absolutely disappeared while TJ had to go defensive so early. TJ dropping back at this stage of the race, and Onifus now up the back of Zesty, and there could be a move on here, Michael, into the right-hander.
Yeah, Zesty doesn't defend, so Onifus goes into the inside into the heavy braking zone. Zesty has to go around the outside, and he out-braked himself, so that's pass almost completed for him. But Zesty somehow manages to take the advantage of taking a bigger radius around the turn and manages to snatch back that place. So at least for the time being, and this quick chicane, he should stay ahead of Onifus. Both get through very well. and they have to watch out for Gabri, who is quickly catching these two fighting drivers.
So late
Very
on the brakes there for Onifus. So close. I thought he was going to pick him up and throw him into the sand, but that didn't happen as we lose from the race. Rex, he's gone. What happened?
No idea, but this is
well, he was running very well at the front. I hope we find out. I hope he tells us what's gone on there, but that is a shock exit. I don't think he's enjoying his hardware at the moment. He said he's running on a 60 hertz monitor or something, and he's not happy with it. So hardware trouble for Rex, which means we've got TJ then up into P3 again, and he's definitely holding up some cars here. Now look at that, 6 cars on the screen, all following TJ.
Yeah, TJ is like a locomotive taking care of all those wagons of Suffer, Cry, Zesty, Onifus, and Gabri, all waiting for the mistake of the car ahead to take advantage. It will be a huge slipstream battle on the longer straight, especially the start-finish line. As Onifus has little contact with Zesty, so these two alongside with Gabri are now getting a bit away from the trio ahead. Onifus is actually trying to bump draft Zesty. I believe that's intentional. But they are slow, and it allows Gabri to maybe do a double pass there. There's 3 wide into the turn 1. Yeah, there they are. Zesty breaks the latest and goes around the outside, which he has shown that he's able to defend the position around the outside, which is a very great move. And Onifus seems to have lost the place to Gabri for the time being. So very nice and fair racing between these.
Absolutely, 3 wide into the first corner, and they all come out in as one. I mean, this is high caliber driving in a weekly pickup championship from these guys. So super stuff. We're being treated to some proper racing tonight as Onifus gets another chance here to get back past Gabri. Let's see. He's not done too well into this corner in the last couple of laps. Oh, that's deep. That's deep. Oh, was there contact, Michael? I couldn't quite see from that angle.
There was contact, but it was front to rear, so no contact that would spin Zesty around, luckily.
But again, Onifus
it was very close. Yeah.
Compromised himself. He had the line, didn't have to brake quite so late. Almost did hit Zesty, but as we've got a car backwards. That is
Suffer.
Dufour, yeah, he's backwards.
Yeah, he's backwards after making a mistake in that fast chicane.
Well, that's how quickly it can go wrong. Yeah, especially for one of the most experienced drivers on the grid in this championship, Sufor, getting it all wrong on lap 3 of 10. And that's important. He needs to not lose too many more, because otherwise he's going to be outside the top 15. He's down to P13 already. As we now take a look at the cars we haven't seen since the very beginning, Michael. It's Happy D leading the Fox, but not by much. This is a very, very close battle.
Yeah, not by much, but it's another 4 seconds down to TJ in 10th place, so it's essentially just the battle between these two great Master Race Car drivers. And so far it seems that Happy D has the upper hand, but it may all come down to a different strategy with the mandatory pit stop. So I think undercut or overcut from the Fox is definitely possible here. Let's see how this plays out in 7 remaining laps of this race number 1. A little mistake from the Fox.
Yeah, that's cost him a bit of time. In fact, that's cost him quite a bit of time. And that's the sort of mistake that he can't afford. These races are not long enough, and there's not enough time to close that gap back up to a driver that is being super consistent at the moment. Happy D extends his lead as he comes over start-finish to start lap number 4. It's gone up to 0.7 of a second.
Yeah, they got into the territory where they are struggling for the rear grip as the tires are now overheating a little bit. But they still managed to keep the advantage over TJ with the best of the rest in P3.
Yeah, and Zesty has a really nice chicane there. Next up the road for him is Cried. He's made it up 2 places to P5, but has a Master Race Car driver ahead and behind. He's managed to pick off one of them, but Cried is next. Can he close that gap? It's 0.4 of a second as we look at it.
Far.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's not going to get it into this next corner, but can he close it down over the next few laps?
I think he definitely can, but it will require time. He breaks later, not as late as Onifus, but yeah, there is Adam going side by side, and ahead of what I believe was...
That's Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, side by side. Wow's coming back at him.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's dropped back behind him. Adam's changed liveries, but he is back to P9 then, as we go through the chicane. Wow follows him through. Job done. Good move.
Yeah, very sensible for Wow to slot behind, as this is definitely the place where you want to go side by side. And slowly but safely, Andriy from Good Drivers has catched up to these two, so he might be up to something if these two will be keep battling for some time.
Yeah, it did cost him a bit of time. Andrea not quite close enough to do anything at the moment, but that is not to say that it won't happen. Ooh, who's off?
Yeah, and it's
that was Adam. Adam dropped
is,
it at the wall.
Yeah.
He's the wrong way around. We can only just see his car. Hopefully he rejoins safely. The camera just hasn't picked him up there at all.
He's drifting through the grass.
He's at the apex.
Ooh. Yeah.
Well, big mistake there from Adam. He's dropped outside the top 15, and he needs to get he needs to get 3 places now, back in the next 5 laps.
He's P18 with highly overheated tires, so he's definitely out of contention. Yeah, he's struggling for grip, almost into the wall. I think he will be pitting at the end of this lap to cool down the tires a bit.
Yeah, not ideal for Adam that, but nonetheless he continues round, which is good. We still have 26 runners in this race, which is very, very decent indeed. And remember, we've still got a second race to come. Top 15 reversed for race 2, so keep an eye on the hot seat. And we still have the pit stops yet to come, where everything could be shaken up and down on its head. It's Happy D leading on to lap 5 ahead of the Fox 777. The 2 Master Race Car drivers doing very nicely out front. And they've opened up a gap of over 3 seconds to TJ, who on his day could batter anybody. He's got the fastest lap, remember, and what can he do in the laps that we've got remaining here in this race? Then we've got Cried in P4, Zesty still chasing him down in P5, Gabri P6, Onifus P7, his teammate Hosep a little way behind in P8 with Wow and Andre for Good Drivers rounding out your top 10. And yes, you're right, Michael, Andre has caught back up to Wow.
Yeah, but let's not forget that these two are from the same team, so it's sensible to expect that they will be very careful, hopefully, not to take each other out, especially in the upcoming chicane.
You clearly have a lot of respect for your teammates. I don't know about you, but if I was racing my teammate, I'd probably go harder against them. Maybe that's just me.
Well,
I used to be pretty harsh to my teammates.
Yeah, well, last time I was harsh to Adam in ATFR, so Suffer can keep P2, so I think there goes my feel for the team.
Well, speaking of Suffer, he just slotted straight back through on Andrea, who got way too close to Wow, and Sufor's back up into the top 10. The battle between the good drivers has been neutralised for now, and it looks like the Fox 777 has closed in a little bit on this lap on Happy D. It's not quite close enough to put it on the cameras yet, but as soon as that battle gets any closer, we will. Here's a close battle. Well, it was closer when we looked at it before, but it is still pretty close. Zesty is closing in on Cried, but he's not there just yet, Michael.
Yeah, slowly but steadily as we are entering the halfway of the race, so some drivers might be into the pit lane if they are equal on the fuel strategy. But so far, Zesty is doing a very great job from P7 at the start.
Yeah, up 2 places in a competitive grid, it has to be said, as we head on to lap 5. The top 2 do not pit. They're coming across start-finish now. Next will be TJ. Then it's Cried and Zesty. Onifus doesn't pit either, neither does Hosep. So none of the top drivers are going into pit lane on this occasion. As Gabri pits.
Yeah, into the pit lane. After some mistake, as his front wing seems to be damaged. Let's see if he does some repairs, and he doesn't. It was just a quick refuel, 1.6 seconds.
Yeah, Gabri's had an off somewhere, and I think must have picked that up either rejoining or as part of the incident. So Gabri has lost some time. Adam pits as well. We expected that to happen. Just an opportunity for Adam to cool his tyres down, and that is him done, and he's back out on his way.
Absolutely.
He's come out in quite a lot of traffic, actually. Let's get the cameras on him.
Yeah, there's a fight between Grotavin and Thomas. As they went side by side when Adam rejoined the track. So now it's a 3-way battle for P18, 19, and 20. And Adam will be definitely eager to get past these two as quickly as he can.
Yeah, different strategy. Remember, Adam wants to get through these cars as quickly as possible, as not to lose time to the drivers ahead of him who haven't yet pitted, and that's just uncomfortable, isn't it? He's just been tracked there behind Grothavin, just not able to get past, and now into the brakes. Can he do it? Oh, Grothavin has to bail. Oh, that was close. Yes, Tamas has 8 lives now.
Yeah, it was very close. I think that Grothavin was so obsessed.
TJ spun. Sorry to cut across you. TJ spun at the exit past the big wall, and has lost a whole bunch of time. That is unusual from him. He's got quite a significant amount of front end damage. So how has that happened? Has he hit someone, or how can you get that much damage at that corner? That's crazy.
I have no idea, but it seems to be mostly cosmetic damage, but it seems like he went straight into the wall, so maybe he was avoiding some other car making a mistake, hard to tell.
It's a lot of damage to pick up at that part. That's very strange looking front end. I've not seen that from the FBM, so he's hit something hard, and well, we'll see if it affects the drivability, but P10 currently for TJ, so an unusual development there. I think Hosep just went in the pit lane. Yeah, he's in.
Yeah, he was just about to be overtaken by Safor, so he skipped that part and went to the pit lane with no pit work, so 1.28 seconds of stationary time, and he returns in P12 currently. Yeah,
so well ahead then of Adam, who's lost just so much time, as we've got Elcor and Carfryer both in the pit lane at the moment as well. And speaking of Safor, yeah, he's got a bit of a gap now. He's got the fastest lap, but he's got time. He's got 8 seconds up the road to Onifus. He's got no other traffic to worry about, so he can keep his head down and see what he can salvage from this race now.
Yeah, and the Fox is now 0.4 of a second away from Happy, but he's still struggling to get close enough, as this car managed to create some dirty air, especially in fast-flowing turns. So the closer the Fox gets, the harder it is for him to follow. So I think it will come down to,
Andrea just got overtaken there by Highwatt. Oh, that was close. I thought they were going to be side by side through the chicane. Back to you, Michael.
Yeah, there's only one outcome that can happen if it goes side by side there. And somebody has spun, and who is that? It's Kryde. Kryde has crashed from P3, I believe.
That's huge, and it's the same place that TJ went off. Well spotted. That is a big one. He was pushing so hard to keep ahead of Zesty, but Zesty has now taken over P3. That's 4 places gained then for Zesty, and Sufor also now getting past Kryde. Sufor up to P5. And yeah, he'll be happy with that. But Kryde, that's a crying shame. What an opportunity it would have been to keep that podium.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just checked the place where he, Adam, and few others did make the mistake. And it seems like the common thing they did manage to do is to take the rear left tire onto the grass on the outside of the turn exit, and that immediately sends them into spinning and into the wall. So
yeah, it's so easy to do.
Very frequent. Yeah.
It's easy to do, especially as the tyres change throughout the race.
The Fox is into the pit lane.
Yeah, so the Fox P2 in.
The undercut from him, not Underfox, sorry.
I mean, the Underfox is a new strategy that is being employed by MRc today. Let's see if it works for him. Sufor's also in.
Yeah, the Fox is now in the clean air, so he's definitely up to something, but he is fast on his outlap.
But yeah, Kryde with a broken front left, and that is going to be Hosep getting up and close and personal with him. We head up to the first chicane. Yeah, Kryde's managed to get out just ahead, and that's P10 then for Kryde after the pit stops. As we've got Tamas in P17 chasing down Elcor, goes to the outside. Elcor defending the inside. Oh, he might make it around the outside here. That's a great move. Tamas around the outside of his teammate and up into P16.
Yeah, that was very opportunistic and very well done, as it shows that even the outside line here is viable for either defending or attacking. There's no 2 green cars.
Yeah, it can't be affecting TJ too badly, can it? Because he's managed to catch up to WoW and isn't going for the move before the chicane. He's dropping back slightly beforehand, though.
Safar has just overtaken JSK into the fast chicane in halfway through that turn. Through that lap, actually, sorry.
Yeah, I just missed that, but Sufor is, well, recovering up the order, should we say. He's making light work of Highwatt there as TJ, yes, on the outside, which will become the inside on Wow, and he's already through. But don't drop a wheel on the exit again, TJ. Oh, they get so close. In fact, he's gone onto the grass.
They won't do, yeah, but they managed to keep it in the correct direction.
Well, that'll be a mixture of things. TJ would have had overspeed going into the corner from the slipstream that he had off the back of Wow, and Wow would have gone wide as well because of the dirty air. So both of those things contributing, as Wow goes very wide, and that's going to hand a lot of time to Highwatt. In fact, Wow has lost a lot of time. He's losing more.
It's the end of lap 8. Let's see if Happy D goes into the pit lane. Yeah, he's committing through there, and let's see if he manages to get out before the Fox 777, who tried
with the underfox.
The underfox strategy.
Wow goes off again actually here ahead of Highwatt, and Highwatt is through. Wow is having a mare at the moment. Happy D is out.
Yeah, and the Fox gets around through there. Yeah,
the underfox. It worked.
Yeah.
You saw it here first, folks.
Actually, I think
for the lead.
I think it all comes down to the fact that Happy D missed his pit stop.
Highwatt's crashed in the pit lane.
Yeah, that's also a possibility to do that there.
Happy D missed his pit box, you said.
Yeah. He lost half a second entering his pit box, essentially. And I think that's what did cost him this lead.
Well, that's big news, as that is a change for the lead, which will become P1 and 2 for those two after Zesty makes his stop, which he has to do this lap. Lap 9 of 10 is the last opportunity to make your pit stop, and that should hand the lead back to the Fox, unless Zesty has found superhuman pace in the last 3 laps. But this has been a pretty insane race, to be honest. Really, really clean start. Super action all the way throughout. A few new drivers appearing, actually. Here's Pablo, who we didn't see in qualifying, fighting with Highwatt. And this is for P12 in the race.
Yeah, and Pablo in perfect opportunity to take the draft, but he opts to take a very weird line, possibly trying to make a gap into that chicane where you don't want to go too close. And yeah, seems like they remain in these positions for the time being and for the few upcoming turns.
Yeah, they've managed to move apart a little bit there as we switch back to Zesty at the front, who will be coming into the pit lane to serve his mandatory pit stop. And at which point the Fox 777 will retake the lead of the race. But it could be close with Happy D and Zesty. Let's see how quick Zesty has been circulating. We know Sufor's got the fastest lap, but what can Zesty do? Needs to be a super quick stop this, but without making any mistakes. It's clean in. It's a great spot into the centre of his pit box. Bit of a slow getaway, and the Fox and Happy D are straight through and back into the lead. And the Fox picks up the fastest lap on the penultimate lap.
Yeah, with strong performance, and looks like Zesty in the end will be able to snatch the final third place, the final podium place in this race. As we are on to the final lap of this race, and let's see who ends up in the 15th place here.
Johnny SVK just leaves the pit lane. He's going to drop down a few places, but I don't think it'll be enough to for him to be the hot seat driver for P15. It's currently Andre.
Yeah.
And I don't know if many other people have to actually come in the pit lane. I think that's it, actually. But we know what the top step is going to look like unless something dramatic happens to the Fox. He's doing a super job. And, you know, the pit lane is still part of the racetrack. If you don't make a perfect pit stop, this is what happens. Happy D loses out with a dodgy pit stop, having led and controlled the race from the beginning.
Yeah, it was a very small mistake, but it came at the worst possible moment, and it definitely did cost them the race win, unless the Fox makes a mistake in the remaining half of the lap. but it's safe to say that they both did a great job here, and the Fox definitely deserves the first place. As here is TJ closely following Cried, MRc Cried, who is somewhat damaged after going out, but so is TJ. And TJ is struggling for the grip, goes a little bit wide and puts his right hand tires onto the grass.
Yeah, Cried was so close to clattering into the tyres there. TJ was bullying him onto the entry, and Cried felt the need to go defensive, as if to think that TJ would put the car side by side with him. But Cried was so lucky to stay on the track there. As into the final sector comes the Fox. It looks like Happy D has backed off and just can't match the pace at the moment of the Fox 777. And I'll let you take him to the line.
Yeah, just a few more turns, and looks like nothing will now stop the Fox 777 from winning this race. There was some back marker waiting for the leader to finish this lap. And the Fox is now gracefully finishing first and winning the race number 2 in this FBM Saturday event, closely followed by his teammate Happy D, who started on pole position, but it wasn't enough. Third is a former Master Race car member Zesty, and fourth place by Fragmaster Onifus, the best of the rest. And next over the line will be in fifth place Master Race car Suffer, so another Master Race car entry. And looks like Craig will be able to finish ahead of TJ. They go over the line now, so it's Suffer, Hosep, Gabri, Craig, TJ in P9, and 10th place goes to the Wow from Good Drivers. 11th is Johnny SBK. And over the line now is going Master Race Cars Pablo, who is maybe out of fuel as he's going over. So there's a lot of cars going through there. I'm not sure who that was. But
everyone fighting for P15.
But it was like 4 cars in a few tenths of a second. So let me see. It was Highwold, P13, 14, Thomas, and Andreas remains in P15. And he's only 8 hundredths of a second behind the Thomas and 18 hundredths of a second ahead of Alcor. So it was a very close fight for that. I would say pole position in race number 2. Yeah,
exactly. 3-way fight for that position, as we've got a race to the line. Hermani versus who was that? That was Lewis Hamilton. We've got AK Destroyer just rounding out the end of the race, actually struggling with the car. I think Oliver Campbell might get through. Yes, Oliver Campbell is going to go through. And Hako might also get through on AK Destroyer, who potentially has either got a lot of damage or is about to run out of fuel.
Yeah, his right rear suspension is completely crippled, so he's struggling for any grip.
Yeah, Hako's not quite sure what to do about this. Doesn't know how to get through. But onto the start-finish, hopefully. Oh, he's just going to follow him up to the start-finish. How nice.
Yeah, it seems so.
But that is our final... I think that's our final finish of the day. In fact, I think Hachiroku's still out on track. I think Hachiroku might still be out on track. Yeah, he is.
Indeed.
Yep. And Skyfr. Skyfr yet to finish as well. Not sure why Skyfr is so far around the track.
I suspect he has crashed in the final lap and is just trying to finish, even if 10 laps down, I assume, at least.
Well, the race restart timer has started, but Skyfr is still in sector 2.
Yeah, we have 300 seconds, so I think he can make it.
Time. So we'll watch Skyfr finish the race before we do the rundown. But yes, we're going to have race number 2 coming up in a few moments' time with Good Drivers Andre, who has managed to steal a pole position for that one with the top 15 reverse grid. That means that the Fox 777 and Happy D will start in P15 and P14 respectively. That is going to be quite a scene. This track is not the easiest to overtake cleanly, but well, the drivers will have to. Skyfr pits on the final lap of the race. Okay, that is that then. That's everybody finished. That will finish. And let's take a look at those race results, shall we? The Fox 77 in 24 minutes and 48 seconds wins ahead of Happy D and Zesty, your podium, with Onifus best of the rest, Sufor, Hosep, Gabri, Cried, TJ, and Wow, your top 10. Johnny SVK, Pablo, Highwatt, Tamas, Andre, Elcor, Carfry, HK, Ruby, Ruthavin, and Adam are your top 20. Reminder that it will be Andre who starts on pole, and everyone ahead of him will start behind him in race number 2. As we see the second page of results, it's Lewis Hamilton, 44 in P21, with Hermani, Oliver Campbell, AK Destroyer, Hako S, and Magic, your 26 finishers, with DNFs this time from Hachiroku, Rex, Yakuza, and Sky FS. So yeah, it does look like Hachiroku joined on the final lap and sort of just headed round. So there we go. That's why he was so far back. But anyway, 30 finishers. 30, I guess, what's the word? Classified attendance for race number 1. 26 classified finishers. And it was the Fox 77 who got the fastest lap after not leading for most of the race and took the win because of a dodgy pit stop from Happy D. They'll be back to the positions they were in essentially at the beginning of the next race, but they have the added confusion, the added chaos of 13 drivers starting ahead of them, and we can't wait for that. A couple of minutes to go then, Michael, before the start of the second race this evening, so we should just remind the viewers of what is coming up. Before we get on with that. Coming up on the Master Race Car FBM Saturday Championship broadcast calendar is the finale on Saturday the 20th of December. That does mean, however, that the championship continues week after week until then, so you can jump on the server at 7 o'clock on a Saturday to join any of the FBM Saturday action that is in Live for Speed. Same time, same place every week. But yes, tonight's action, we are halfway through. We have finished race number 1. We've got that second race coming up with the mandatory pit stop still in force and a reverse top 15 grid to add to the spice, Michael.
Absolutely. It will be very interesting to see, especially the top 15 getting away, as this group will go in the first turns, and it will be definitely interesting for the potential winners of the race to stay away from any trouble, which is hard on this track. But it's definitely interesting to note that we have a very high finishing rate, that we have 26 finishers out of almost 29 at the beginning, which is very unusual for a track like Fern Bay Black, which is considered one of the most challenging tracks in Live for Speed.
Yeah, it was actually, as I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, one of the cleanest starts to any race I've seen in recent times. Everybody made it through the first chicane. Everybody pretty much made it round over start finish within, I've got to say, like 20 seconds of each other. I think that's really, really good for a race start, especially as you said at Fern Bay Black, where the track just begs for accidents and incidents, and especially with basically 30 cars all on top of each other on the first lap. That was really something special. So well done to the drivers. Let's try and do it again. However, we do appreciate that we've jumbled the grid up, and that may not be strictly possible. 20 seconds to go before the lights go out again, Michael. So I will let you prepare, and you can take us away for the start of the final racing action tonight, race 2, coming up now.
Yeah, we have just 6 seconds before the race gets restarted, and let's see if it's as safe as was the race number 1. As in any moment we should see the grid being set up. Just waiting for that.
Yeah, I think the countdown was aborted, so there we go. It is happening.
Yep.
Absolutely. Take it away, Michael.
And here we go again for race number 2 with top 15 finishers reverse. So it's good drivers Andri on the front row alongside Sinoris Thomas, and it's Happy D and the Fox being in P14 and 15 respectively, with a lot of work ahead of them. It's white going red and it's green, and let's see how well everyone starts. And it looks like some drivers did compromise their first gear for better cornering, but a terrible start. It looks like Pablo got into the lead of the race. Of course, but no serious contact through there. But Pablo has snatched away the lead from Andrich before they even got into the first turn, and will try to break away.
Oh, car off.
There was somebody off.
Grothavin off at the back. Other cars trying to get across the grass as well. Carry on, Michael.
Yeah, little contact, but everyone seems to get away well without any major damage. And let's see how the lead of the race will go, as Pablo may be under the pressure from Andrich, but so far it's Andrich is braking very late and hitting Pablo, who goes sideways. And it's concerning the cars behind them, so it's now a lot of drivers in a short train. It's now the Thomas taking the second place, and Heivat is trying to get there as well, but hits the rear of Andrich. And it looks like Pablo will be in the lead of this group through the chicane. Will they make it through without anyone dying? No. Yeah, Heivat is going white, but manages to keep it in the right direction.
We've also got more casualties. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton gets absolutely smashed. In fact, we've got lots and lots of cars off. I think I think the Fox has been caught up. Yes, he has. That's tragic.
Oh, damn it.
The Fox 777 will not take the second win, I don't think, after that. That is a lot of damage and a lot of positions lost for him. A huge crash at the second chicane there.
Yeah, and Happy is now on the grass as well alongside Adam, but they managed to keep it on the track as they're being overtaken by Hosep and Carfryer. So a lot of
cars off.
Oh no!
We've got Highwatt off with Gabri, I think, down at the end of the back straight. That was four cars going into there at once. And they all crossed wheels.
Gabri seems to be all right, so it was somebody else.
Oh,
let me see.
Yeah, my mistake. Was it Sky
it was MRc
or Johnny?
Matty, actually.
Oh, okay. Matty, who is a new joiner for race 2. Potentially.
Yeah.
So, lots and lots of chaos as expected on the opening lap of the second race here. But it's Pablo who leads with a 1 second gap over Andre, TJ, and Tamas as we round out lap number 1, Michael.
Yeah, Pablo is definitely trying to tear away from the rest of the field before the fast drivers get through. As TJ is already into the P2. He's into the P2 right now. And it's a huge battle between Safar and Kreid in turn 1, and looks like Kreid breaks later and Safar does the switchback. And he goes side by side. Manages. It's Gabri. Sorry.
Gabri. Well, actually, Kreid now being overtaken by Onifus. That's close. Oh, and there is contact.
Contact. Yeah, and this team might get 2 places.
Oh, how did he do that?
That was very opportunistic, and they managed to survive, and Onifus has broken away from this duo. And it's now Bo and Kreid on the rear of Zesty. Zesty is now alongside Kreid, who is on the inside of the turn, but safe to say that Zesty will try to keep the position by going faster around the outside. Yeah, there he goes. But he's now
Zesty the big winner here.
Yeah.
From the start, up to P8 now.
There he goes attacking. Side by side into the chicane, that will not work.
No.
And Kreid under the grass, but manages to keep it in the correct direction on the losing positions.
Well, that was lucky for Kreid. Kreid only lost 1 position as a result of that. Wow, got through. Hosep's now up the back of him, but that could have been a lot worse. That's for sure. That's probably an understatement.
Yeah, it seems like some drivers are unhappy about kamikaze moves from Hachiroku. I'm not sure what did happen there, but they're definitely not impressed. As here's again Hachiroku going very opportunistic, and it seems like somebody had spun there. But
that's Hosep.
Yeah, that's a car in the wall.
Same thing again as was happening in race 1, just dropping Hosep. The wheel. That's a huge distance to have travelled after that incident, but probably best for him that he ended up. As Oliver Campbell also does the same thing and ends up in the wall as well. So 2 drivers at least that we know of who have suffered the fate of that turn. As we resume with Pablo, who has now been caught by TJ, and we could be seeing a lead change here.
Yeah, TJ, it's only a matter of time before TJ gets ahead of Pablo, as the amount of talent in these 2 drivers is significantly different, and TJ is now in the slipstream of Pablo. So I think he will be ahead by the time we get into the start-finish line. He goes alongside. Pablo is not even trying to defend. He knows that it's not his race to fight here. Instead, he will try to stay ahead of good drivers Andre, who, after starting at pole position, is keeping third place for the time being. So he's definitely playing it safe.
Yeah, indeed. And that is TJ back in control of the race. Andre is in P3, started on pole, and wants to get back through, I'm sure, as we've got Happy D here trying to get through on WoW now in one of the the least comfortable parts of the track to make that happen, but it's about to become easier as he heads onto the back straight. One of the back straights, there are several, with a heap of slipstream, the inside line, and presumably a slam dunk pass. There it is.
We should call it the bridge straight to make it clear.
Well, there's two of them as well.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the flyover straight,
yeah.
the overpass straight. Yeah, there we go, Michael, with the logical naming.
Absolutely. Yeah, anyway, it's Happy D into P9, but it's safe to say that TJ is in a very strong position, as he's now already in the lead of the race, and breaking away from Pablo and Enrich in P2 and 3. And as none of them has yet made the pit stop, it looks like TJ is highly likely to win this race unless something terrible will happen to him, or may have happened. As we saw the race before where he clipped the grass and went straight into the wall. But so far he's doing everything perfectly.
A number of drivers having incidents with that wall, but Onifus, Zesty and Tamas getting pretty close together here. Onifus needs to make quick work of Tamas because he's got Zesty bearing down on him.
Yeah, meanwhile Sufferer is now putting pressure on Andre and Pablo in P4. Probably the closest fight right here. How long will it take to him to make the difference? Here is Onifus in P7 also in a fight with Thomas, Zesty and Gabriel. Well, here we can see that Safar is right on the tail of the two cars ahead, Pablo and Andre.
Yeah, this is the fight for P2.
Yeah, he should be able to take their slipstream as they are fighting each other. Yeah, they're maybe a bit too far, but going side by side, that will definitely slow them up. So let's see what Safar does. They're going side by side, little contact, and that may allow Safar to get ahead. No, he slots behind. For this quick chicane, little top of the tire stacks, and Safar still not being able to make the difference. He's looking left and right, but the space is not there. But I think the great opportunity will be the bridge, flyover, whatever pass they are entering right now. Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity. It might be a 2 positions going to Safar. It's gonna be 3 wide now, Safar on the outside, Pablo on the inside. And looks like the most lucky is Andre.
Oh, Andre played that perfectly. He left enough room for Sufor, managed to go deep enough to get around the outside of Pablo. That was a beautiful move, but Sufor might be able to end it completely. He's ahead before he even arrives at the chicane. Amazing.
Yeah, it was very sensible for Andre to slot behind, because otherwise it would be a very nasty incident. TJ is now several seconds ahead of this already.
While we were watching that, another battle unfolded. Onifus managed to get through on Tamas. Zesty has yet to get through. And Zesty maybe trying to get ahead. Yeah, but we've got Gabri now on the back of Pablo and Andre.
And onto the grass goes none of them, which is very interesting. And as these three are fighting, Onifus is now catching up. So it's now a 4-way battle for P3, actually. And Onifus again braking very late. I think he's really strong with his brake setup here. And looks like it goes wide for Andre, who was under steer, and it slows down Pablo again. So now they're very close. We are now watching that from the point of view of Onifus, who's just waiting for any opportunity to make the pass happen. As now they are going into the underpass bridge section, and a few medium speed corners before the start-finish straight. It looks like it's now... It was opportunity, but it's now closed door for Onifus. but he's in the close proximity to both Pablo and Gabri, both Master Race Car member, and looks like Pablo has committed into the pit lane, not giving any slipstream to Onifus, which is a sensible thing to do. And Onifus will now attack. Gabri goes on the inside, breaks later, and it's moved on. Very great move from Onifus. Now jumping into P4 and about to chase Andre.
Yeah, a super move that from the Fragmaster driver on one of the Master Race Car drivers that we've got here tonight. We've got many representing from both teams actually throughout the event, but that is a great move from Onifus up to P4.
Yeah, but this is not giving up. So
no.
Let's see if he's... Yeah, Onifus tries to go defensively. He's going zigzag, trying to break the slipstream. And it looks like Gabri is on the inside, but Onifus shall have a bigger speed advantage out of the turn. Yeah, and just as I say, Onifus is not ahead. And I think Gabri will not try to do anything ahead of this fast chicane. But as these two are fighting, Zesty is getting very close. Yeah, we can see him in the background, and I think by the end of this lap he will be right in the tail of these two.
It is only a matter of time. Yeah. TJ, meanwhile, has opened up 3 seconds at the front, so the likelihood of anyone catching him without a mistake from TJ is diminishing quickly. However, never say never, because Happy D made that fatal mistake in late in race 1, where he messed up his pit stop slightly and handed the lead to someone else. So, TJ's it's not out of the woods yet, but it's looking pretty good, as Zesty has in fact closed in on Gabri.
Yeah, and Onifus now right on the tail of Andre, and it looks like he shall be able to make the difference in any upcoming turn. But as he's waiting for his opportunity, Zesty and Gabri are also very close, so he has to also watch his mirrors. As we are again into the underpass section, and he might be late into the brakes here. No, he's staying in the close proximity, but waiting for the start-finish straight. And Gabri and Zesty are very close as well, so it might be a four-way battle into the braking zone. Let's see. This may be a bit too far, but Onifus is actually trying to bump draft and now committed into the pit lane.
That's a shame. Sort of denied that overtake, but Onifus deciding he doesn't want to lose any more time, goes into pits. And
he wants to get into the traffic.
For Gabri. Yeah.
Onifus rejoins right behind Johnny SVK and is just barely holding off Pablo. So he ends up in the traffic anyway. He might not be pleased with this decision. Yes, now it's Gabri's turn to try to take advantage of Andrich's slower pace. He's not close enough, but he may outperform him on the brakes. Let's see what he does. I think the most opportunistic on brakes was Zesty in the end, who did catch up to Gabri quite fast. Yeah, that is the point of view of Zesty, who is trying to get into the clean air to keep his distance to the car ahead. Full send through this chicane, and off to the back of this truck they go. Out of these three, Zesty always seems to be braking the last, so I think his biggest opportunity is at the end of the long straight. As they are now entering the section where the famous Spin Master turn is. It looks like everyone stays on the grey surface. And will be just able to outbrake his fellow competitor? No, he's still waiting.
The Fox 777 is trying to reclimb the order after the incident he had on lap 1. Not sure whether it was his fault, but there was just too many cars and there was bound to be somebody that was unlucky. But it's now the Fox 77 versus Adam. Adam squeezing him over to the wall, as he has every right to do. And the Fox is going to try again around the outside of this double left. Nope, no room there either. Adam's having another race where he's got trouble with the rear of that car, just stepping out on him. Adam will defend this. Oh, the Fox using all of the road on the left to try and get past, but just no way through. Adam is He knows how to defend, does Adam?
Yeah, Adam definitely knows where to place his car to annoy the car behind, but I think he's definitely out of opportunities to stay ahead of the Fox, as he's already alongside and on the inside of the next turn and likely to brake later. Yeah, he's ahead
Zesty
by the
got
time.
through.
Yeah.
These three were all on top of each other through turn one. Zesty manages to get through just off camera, while we were watching Adam get passed by the Fox. But yeah, Zesty up to P5 then, and Adam's joined the spectators. I think he's had a crash at turn one, or something, or at the chicane. Not sure, but Adam not happy and out.
Yeah, it looks like he hit some tire stacks in the chicane. And he's definitely out of the race, as we are now watching Gabri trying to get back ahead of Zesty.
He might manage this actually if he's lucky.
Now it's a matter of who will have the balls to stay full throttle. It was very close. Zesty's line was compromised, and that allows Gabri to get alongside again. But Zesty as well knows where to place his car.
I love that camera angle.
Yeah,
it shows a lot more than the driver can see, and you can see the margins were zero. So great judgment from both. Gabri just backing off in the nick of time, but he's got another opportunity here. Zesty is doing some marvellous defending, doing more defending than we've seen some other drivers doing. But this could be dangerous. Gabri has to lift, surely. No, he's through. That's an amazing move around the outside at the place where we've seen drivers dropping it off on their own. Fabulous stuff.
Yeah, that was a great overtake. Zesty is into the tire stack.
I love it.
To survive, but yeah, that was a bit too close for comfort. And
that was aggressive, but just about fair. Gabri ran him out of road, but I'm sure Zesty will see it completely differently. But a little bit of elbows out for the sake of an enjoyable race. I'll take that any day. That was fantastic. Good stuff from Gabri to get that place back.
Absolutely, and JSK made a mistake, is overtaken by Hippity and also under pressure from Pablo. So these four Master Race car drivers are now neck to neck. Matty from Master Race car is joining these struggling drivers. It looks like Hippity is slowly pulling some places as Gabri is into the pit lane. He did refuel his car 1.6 seconds and rejoins behind Jenny SVK and Matty.
We lost Pablo from the race there as well, so something happened with him as we pick up the AK Destroyer in a fight with Hoseb.
Gabri got a speeding penalty in the pit lane. 30-second time penalty, actually, which is interesting. Well, usually they get a drive-through at this point of the race.
That must have been such a fast entry into pit lane for Gabri that it triggered a 30-second time penalty. As we see, Sufort is only within 1.5 seconds now of our race leader, TJ. Can he close that gap down any more before the end?
Well, he has a 1.5 lap to pull that 1.5 seconds, so that's a lot of work to do, but everything is possible on this track, so let's watch.
Yes, watch we will, as these two will be pushing flat out, try and win this one. We've got another sector line coming up. We'll get an update on the time gap. 1.4.
And it's actually 2.5 laps, so easy job for Suffer. He's definitely gonna overtake TJ. I feel it.
You're confident. But yeah, in support of your man, which I understand.
Yeah.
With my unbiased cap on, I would say he'll catch him, but will he get through? That's another question. TJ knows where to put the car. We could have a grandstand finish in race 2, which would be more than welcome after the kerfuffle of lap 1, where we lost quite a lot of the cars we thought were going to create attention as they worked their way up the grid. But yeah, it was a bit chaotic, as we've got Hermani dropping it at the second chicane. And he's got to be careful how he rejoins. I think he's got space.
Suffer into the pit lane.
Interesting. Is he going to do the underfox? on TJ.
It seems like he's trying a very slow getaway because of the long first gear. And let's see if he manages to get a good outlap. Zesty and Andre, as well as Cried, into the pit lane as well.
Cried sideways in the pit lane. That was a suboptimal pit entry for Cried, who does manage to make a pit stop, but had to sort of do a 3-point turn to get going again. Not the best way out.
Yeah, happy snitches the fastest lap.
That's impressive in P4, but bit of a gap to Onifus and quite a lot to make up in just 2 laps. Not impossible, but time is running away as TJ has to pit on this lap. He's on lap 9 of 10. His closest competitor in this race, Sufor, has already served the pit stop and will be wondering where TJ will be when he emerges from pit lane himself. But TJ needs to not make the same mistake Happy D made in race 1. He needs that clean pit entry, a quick stop, and straight back out again with no errors.
Yeah, and with how short the pit lane here is, Sufor is only 13 seconds behind TJ, so it doesn't sound like a lot, but it might be sufficient for TJ to get out ahead.
Yeah, and then it'll be the last lap dash for both of them. Sufor will have the momentum down into turn 1, but TJ has all of the racecraft and will surely defend it if he needs to. As I think I just heard a car hit the wall somewhere towards the end of the bridge straight. I think they're going again. But some drama happening somewhere out on track. We'll watch TJ now complete his mandatory stop. Sufor is just approaching the bridge now.
TJ has the obligation to enter the pit lane at the end of this lap, so we know what's going to happen. The question is how quickly it will happen, and will it be enough for him to stay ahead of Sufor? He was quite careful entering the pit lane, and also got a slow getaway. But looks like he might just stay ahead of Sufor, who just got into the final lap. And yes, the gap is still too big for Sufor to make advantage of it. So unless TJ makes a big mistake, he should stay ahead of Sufor and win this race.
So all that certainty that you had of TJ being overtaken by Sufor.
Yeah,
Sorry, Michael.
I am significantly disappointed by Sufor's performance.
Well, TJ did everything right, and that's all he could do in that moment. He has no control over Sufor's pace, and Sufor actually, I think the gap may have gone up, or maybe not. Maybe it is a slight gain, but still, 2 great pit stops by our race leaders. Shows you why they are at the helm of this race. Happy D, although he's on pace, he's not going to have enough lap left to get past Onifus, I don't think. So unless anything happens, I think the race is pretty much written. But TJ did a great job to carve his way through the pack and get to the lead. He pulled away. The gap was up to over 3 seconds, but fair play to Sufor. He's really reeled him in. The gap down to almost 1 second. But there are just not enough laps left. These are short races in FBM Saturday, which is just, I think they're tuned perfectly for the type of racing action we have. It's just enough to separate the men from the boys as we head to the end of our second race.
Absolutely, only a few 1 second turns before we finish this race, and it's just 0.7 of a second between Sufor and TJ, but they are running out of turns to make an impact. We are now onto the final sector. Looks like Andre is under pressure. Actually been overtaken by Gabri, but he has 30 seconds penalty, so Andre will finish ahead of Gabri in the end. As we are now switching to TJ, who is being closely chased by Sufor, but he's far enough to stay ahead for the rest of this lap and race. This is the final lap, and despite all the efforts, Sufor is not being able to catch up to TJ. And looks like TJ is winning the race number 2, with Safari being on the 6/10 of a second behind. And third place should come to Fragmaster Onifus. Yeah, there he is 6 seconds behind. That's Happy D after starting from P14, finishes in P4. Then it's Good Drivers Andre in P5 after starting from current pole position, followed by Zesty, The Fox, Tamas, Cried. And Gabriel is still waiting for his 30 seconds penalty to elapse, so he's slowly falling through the field, with Johnny SBK being 10th, Wow 11th. Then it's Master Race Car Mete in P12. Let's see if Gabriel ends up in P13.
Gonna be close.
Over the line goes Elcor, but it looks like he ends up behind Gabriel, so that looks like 30 seconds penalty has elapsed. And it's Hosep in P15. Unfortunately for him, it's not top 15 reversed again. It's AK Destroyer P16, followed closely by Grotevin in P17. And looks like Magic from the Race Green Autosport is now finishing his lap, hugging that left line, and over the finish line goes 18 fastest.
Ruby looped the car just a couple of corners ago, so this has been a tumultuous final lap for him. Hermani will be the final car across the line. For him will be Oliver Campbell, who is just behind Ruby. In fact, a few corners behind Ruby. As Ruby does a bit of a weave to the line. Oh, a bit more than just weaving.
Yeah, into the wall, but that didn't impress us after tonight. We see plenty of crashes, and it looks like next over the line will be here Oliver Campbell, who should end up being P20th. Yeah, over the line he goes. And looks like the final car will be then Hermani, who is finishing his lap, just one turn to go. And it will be 21st and last finisher of this race number 2. There he goes. 2 minutes and 7 seconds behind the race winner.
Indeed, and that does bring to a close race number 2. And as Michael said, it was TJ who won this one in 24 minutes 51 seconds, ahead of Sufor, Onifus, and best of the rest tonight in race 2 was Happy D. Could not win both races, could not win one race tonight, in fact, as he finishes P4 just off the podium in race 2. Good effort, but in the end, just not the luck that he needed to get that done today. Andre in P5, Zesty in P6, the Fox 777 after starting in P15, getting caught up in that first lap incident and dropping all the way down, manages to salvage points up to P7, which is impressive. Tamas finishes in P8, Cried, Johnny SVK, Wow, Matty, Gabri with that 30-second penalty cross-start finish for speeding in the pit lane. Elcor, Hosep, AK Destroyer, Grotavin, Magic, Ruby and Oliver Campbell are your top 20, with the second page concluded with Hermani, your final finisher there in P21, with DNFs for Pablo, who basically had quite a lot of action, didn't he? He ended up taking over the lead of the race, but then was bullied downwards. Adam DNF, unfortunately. Carfryer, Skyaffair, Hachiroku, Highwatt, Lewis Hamilton and Hako also not finishing at race number 2. And Sufor takes fastest lap honours in race 2 at 2:26.20, which brings to a close tonight's action from Master Race Cars FBM Saturday. Michael, that was a blast.
That was a very eventful blast after what seemed to be one of the most safe and cautious race we ever had at Fern Bay Black. And then closely followed by a very damage event for
typical race.
More typical race for this environment in race number 2, where TJ showed up that he's strong as well.
Symmetry. We like symmetry, you and I. So that does round up the action tonight. It's not all from Master Race Car by any stretch. They have got races every single weekend until the end of the year. We are going to be back for the finale on Saturday, December 20th. Do not miss out on that. Round 51 at a combo to be decided We know the FBM will be there, but we don't know what track it will be at, where our overall champion will be crowned. Happy D didn't get the win today on either of the races. The Fox did, but Happy D will probably be extending his championship lead after tonight's action due to the Fox not having such a good second race. But they're so close on points, Michael, that it's probably going down to the wire anyway.
It can possibly go down to the internet connection issues, so let's see how it goes in 2 months' time. So plenty of races to go, and anything can happen.
It can indeed. Yes, that's everything for us for tonight. You can check out our calendar at simbroadcasters.tv/calendar to see all the action that's coming up on our channel in the next few days. Tomorrow, we're celebrating 20 years of Air Attack, so you can check out that tomorrow evening starting at 7 o'clock UTC. And there's more announcements to come your way over the coming days and weeks, so please stand by for that. But that's all we've got time for tonight from all of us here at Sim Broadcast. You have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll see you all next time. Good night.
Good night, everyone.